The Star Sport podcast is brought to you by Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
Close your eyes and pull like a dog.
And a new Irish record for Phil Healy, 22.99.
Christy Cooney hands over the Sam Maguire Cup to Graham Canty, Cork All-Ireland champions for the 7th time ever.
Hello and welcome to the Star Sport podcast. My name is Dylan Mangan of the Southern Star, and on this week's podcast we're welcoming not one but two special guests. So this week we're going to hear from Ciarán Crowley, who's a joint captain of the Clonakilty side, who became Carbery Junior A Hurling champions at the weekend. They beat St James's 117 to 11 points in Newcestown. And speaking of Newcestown, we'll also be joined this week by Tadhg Twomey ahead of his club's County Senior A final against Blarney this weekend. He recently made his 150th county appearance for Newcestown and is hoping his next one will be special. Before we get into things though, it's just a quick message from our sponsors, as the Star Sport podcast is brought to you in association with our friends at Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, where your bank really does matter. Choose credit union, choose local, choose community. Now, I'm joined this week on the podcast by a new addition to the Star Sport team. You might have heard him on the podcast last week chatting to Lisa Hard of O'Donovan Rossa. And that is Sean Holland. Welcome, Sean.
Thanks very much, Dylan. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Now, you were at the Clonakilty St James's game at the weekend in the Carbery Junior A Hurling Championship, or the final there, and Clon recaptured the Flyer 9 Cup on Sunday. What was the game like?
They did indeed. They got over the line against Ardfield comfortably enough. It was Ardfield's first appearance in the Junior A Hurling Championship final, so it was a great achievement for them, but Clon really had too much for Ardfield on the day. Clon had come through a very tough semi-final against Blarney, which they won after extra time, and then they faced Ardfield and probably went into the game as favourites, and they lived up to that tag. At halftime they were up 3 points, but to be fair, they were comfortable at that and hadn't really got out of second gear. But the big game-changing moment was a combination of the White brothers. Sean made a bursting run through the middle and set up brother Mark, who you probably know as the Cork football goalkeeper, for a goal that really changed the outcome of the game. After that, Clon really just coasted to the win. Mark himself ended up winning man of the match, but Clonakilty really showed that they're a very good hurling side. Obviously, when they're playing at the top level of Cork football, the big ball probably gets more of the attention than the hurling, but they're well able to hurl as well as they showed on Sunday. So now they go into a county quarter-final against Ballinora. So that is coming up for them, and they'll be looking to progress up into Premier Junior. So it's looking good in Clon in the hurling things.
So you mentioned there that Clon were 3 points ahead at halftime. The score was 8 points to 5. And by the 50th minute, it was 113 to 8 points. So it really goes to show that they came out in the second half roaring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, they were much the better side in the second half. It must be said that they neutralised the threat of Ardfield's danger men like Aaron Hayes and James O'Driscoll. And their goalkeeper, Shane Collins, pulled off a couple of very good saves as well. So Clon really deserved it. I don't think Ardfield will have any complaints in the results. It was a great achievement for them to make the final, but it'll be interesting now to see if Clon can push on the county stages.
Yeah, fingers crossed for them. We're going to hear in a moment now from Ciarán Crowley, who I mentioned at the start of the podcast is joint captain of the victorious Clonakilty side. You spoke to him earlier this week. How was his form? And obviously, I presume Clonakilty, everyone was delighted with the victory.
Mm-hmm. No, Ciarán's a great hurler himself, and he was in flying form. To be fair, they seem kind of subdued a small, but I'd say they have their eyes on the bigger prize, maybe of going further in the county. So he's optimistic enough, but he was delighted to get the win as well on Sunday.
Yeah, and just before we go to him, how do you see their chances in the county? Like, obviously it'll be tough competition, and it was their first Carbery final since 2020, if I'm right. So it's a great opportunity for them going forward as well.
Yeah, no, definitely they have all the makings of county champions. It's just a case of, can they click on the day? Can their forwards get the scores? Because they have a very astute backline. So no, I'd give them every chance, especially in the Junior A Championship now, since Kilshannig, who probably would have been the favourites, have been knocked out. So it's kind of open season for whoever can get up. Obviously, Tracton will be coming from the Premier junior grade down to junior for next year. So whatever team can get out of the championship this year, it'll be a huge benefit, because obviously Tracton will probably go into the junior county next year's favourites. So Clon will definitely be eyeing up that county final.
Absolutely, it's there for the taking. So we're going to take a very quick break now, and we'll be back to hear from Ciarán Crowley.
Right, I'm delighted to be joined now by Clonakilty's joint captain, Ciarán Crowley. They were victorious in the West Cork final last weekend over Ardfield. Ciarán, thanks for joining me.
No bother at all. My pleasure, Sean.
Very good. And how were the celebrations in Clonakilty Sunday night?
It was brilliant, to be fair. It's probably going back a couple of years now since we got to the West Cork final. It's always, it's brilliant to win something when you go training and you train so hard all year. To come out the right side of it there now on Sunday was very enjoyable. We just went back to Ahmedov, friends and family and things like that, and we had a couple of pints, all right. And yesterday was actually brilliant. I'm working in Clonakilty Clan, so about 4 or 5 of the lads came back to the school with the cup yesterday. So it was brilliant to bring it back to the underage in the club, and seeing members of the team that have won the game coming in, and they just said a few little words, and it was actually very nice, in fairness. So fair play to them for coming in as well. So I'd say that was about it. No, we struggled on there yesterday.
No, you look very fresh now for a fellow who won a West Cork. But we'll push on to a small matter of the semi-final first anyway, Ciarán, and the Ball game. How relieved were you to get over the line in that one, because they're obviously going for the 3 in a row, so that was a monumental battle that you came through.
Yeah, geez, a battle is what it was, Sean. You said it right there. It was an unbelievable game of hurling, in fairness. Like, it was proper two teams, like, good hurling for the whole of the 80 minutes. Like, even went extra time as well. There was nothing that could be we couldn't be split up. Like, it was actually a class game of hurling. Like, we got a goal in the second half. Like, Mark got a goal, and like this next play, Brian Dunham went down. He buried it at the other side. Like, it was just tit for tat the whole game. But we knew that, like, they were 2 in a row champions. Like, as you said, they were going for 3 in a row. It was always going to be an unbelievable battle, and they did bring everything to it. And we, thank God, we just got over the line. An extra time. Fergal Murphy actually popped over the winner there. So shout out to him for getting us there, getting us to the final, really. But yeah, it was an unbelievable game of hurling. It was actually unreal. And fair play to Shane Scanlon as well. Left the game go. It wasn't stop-start. It was actually, the ball was actually in play a lot of the time. So it was unbelievable, in fairness.
No, it was a fantastic win, and you came up then against Ardfield in the final. And I suppose it's probably fair to say many probably weren't expecting them to come over Kilmeen, but they actually put in a fantastic performance to beat them. So was that a team you had planned for, or had the management any plan in terms of, I know their main attacker Aaron Hayes now coming back from Barcelona, had you anything in place for him in the final, or anyone else like James O'Driscoll, or was it purely going out and concentrating yourselves?
No, like, geez, I actually wasn't surprised that Arsenal got through it either, because we actually played them last year in the same. It was quarterfinal actually last year. We played them down Barry Row, and Jesus, it was an unbelievable battle. Like, in fairness to them, they put everything into it. Every ruck ball or anything that's a half little break, they're just throwing bodies at it, and that was the most physical game we had, I'd say, last year. So we did actually have a plan, right? We had seen them play, and I think one of our selectors went to watch them there in a couple of games. I think it was the Mahoon's game we went to watch. But obviously, we knew when Aaron came home as well, that we had to shut him down. He got 1-6 in the semi-final, and we put, in fairness, Clancy went on him. So that was the plan for Aaron. And then with James, he got a good few frees in the final. So we were like, as a backs unit, we were like, if we can cut down on the frees and keep Aaron Hayes quiet, we'd have a good chance of winning. And I think we actually kind of did that really. On Sunday. So that was our plan, and probably worked, in fairness. We came up the right side of it. But like, turning to Artfield now in the final, unbelievable game. Like, really went at it again, and we just probably pulled away towards in the last quarter again. But it was a very good final, and fair play to them. They're always summed out on the field.
No, and a big reason for you pulling away there in the second half was the influence of the White brothers. Mark ended up getting man of the match, but give us a few words on how influential they are to your team. Obviously, they're coming from a very hurling stronghold. Their father there, Adrian, a big Barry Roman, and it's a shame the three lads aren't wearing blue. But how influential are they in the green and red of Clon?
You're a bit sour with that one there, Sean. I'd say, yeah.
To be honest, if they're on the team anyway, I wouldn't be playing. So
yeah, no, geez, the Whites are class. In fairness, they're a huge addition to all our teams growing up. Even like, I would have played last final now in was it 2020, and Mark would have been in goal, and it was unbelievable. I was full back that time in Reeves. Like, he just put huge confidence in you behind you, but like, you get such a platform off his puckouts, and he's so comfortable under the high ball. And since Sean Burley came in, he had it just in his head that he was going to put him outfield, and he's been doing very, very well. In fairness, he's some size, like, you can't. You hate marking him. You just can't get around him. And then Brian and Sean, they're unbelievable as well. Like, they have unbelievable skill, so natural to them. If I was to try to do all that stuff, I'd be training all year for it. Whereas they just have it. It's actually frustrating at times. The stuff they're doing there with the ball is actually class. So it's huge to have them. And then in the forward line, they're real ball winners. Like, even Sean there on Sunday, just for the puckouts for Shane Collins, it was just like everything was sticking with them. And then sure, they're like, it's like telepathic at stages, really. Like, the goal that Sean White got in the semi-final, Brian gave a perfect ball, like, but it was just to pull that off. It was unbelievable. So they're huge to have inside. So I can't say enough about them. They're very good, very skillful, and fair play to them.
Yeah, there's no transfer request gone in yet anyway. But speaking then themselves, obviously they'd be kind of more footballers, Sean and Mark, and kind of speaking on the football side of things, obviously playing at, you're at the top tier of Cork football. How tough is it to balance in the round robin stage, group stage games when you've senior football and you're coming down playing junior hurling? Is there more priority given to the football, or what was the setup this year?
So like, it is tough that way. No, like, obviously you're playing a higher grade in football, so you have to, no matter what you do, you still have to be footballing nearly every week. So in fairness, the two management teams, they kind of sort that out. In fairness, we didn't have to deal with it, and they're very considerate. Like, so anytime there was hurling championship, we got in the 2 hurling sessions a week, or even if it was a split session on a Wednesday and then you got a hurling session on a Friday. Because the football is so important for the hurling as well, because you get all your fitness done in the senior football training, because obviously you have to run a lot more in football. That's just the way it's gone. You have to be savage fit to be able to last 60 minutes in senior football, and it really stands so still in junior hurling. You can let the ball do a bit more work, but then you still have the fitness in the final quarter, and I think that really stood to us on Sunday, just like coming down the stretch, that we were bringing an impact off the bench, and just had it in the legs coming in with like 10 or 15 minutes to go. So I would agree that obviously there has to be a bit of communication that goes on between the two management teams, which is very important. And I think it's very important as well that it gets kept away from the players, because obviously you don't want to be dealing with, like, are we going hurling training, are we going football? It's just there, done for us, sorted, and we just go. We get told when to go, and even if it's a half an hour hurling, it's bang on a half an hour and we're gone to football, and vice versa. So it worked out perfectly anyway all year. And I suppose unfortunately we lost to Nemo there by a point. But it probably helped us then in the hurling, because we had access to the players. And as you know, like, playing hurling, you have to be at it every day. Just ball off the wall, even first touch, basic stuff. Like, you have to have that in hurling. And it was huge to have the 2 weeks then, even coming into the Ball game, and then obviously momentum rolling on then for last Sunday. So it worked out. It worked out well for us in the hurling anyway. Thank God.
Yeah, obviously it's a big advantage for you now that it's just the hurling that you've left, and you have Ballinora now in the county quarter final. Probably going to have to dust out the away kits for that one. But are you expecting much from these guys, or have you seen them play at all?
to be honest, no, I haven't really seen them play. I just know that your man Shane Kingston there, he's a Cork 20, so obviously they've got some unbelievable hurlers. And I did see the result right on Sunday evening that they got over the line against Stripsy. So, but sure, we'll be looking forward to that really. Like, you know, the last few years in Clon, we're always fairly disappointed with how we've done in the county section. And obviously, you know, we've about 3 weekends there to get back to training now tomorrow night and get ourselves sorted for that, and hopefully get all the injuries sorted out. And we'll drive on for that, and we'll really aim to get through a county quarter final. And I suppose obviously, no, after winning the West Cork, you have to say that your aim would be to win a county. You know, you're not just sitting there to take part. We want to go on and win we want to go on further and win it out, hopefully. So it'll be knuckle down again tomorrow night and go at it again for the next couple of weeks.
That's fair to say. That probably is the goal now. It is to get up into Premier Junior Hurling, and I imagine, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely. So I suppose it's always everyone's goal that start of the year you go down to training and you pick out what you want to do for the year. Our first one had to be get over the first championship game, get out of the group. We did that. And then after that, you're only taking it game by game. And I'd say we're doing the same now. We're not looking ahead. We're not looking beyond Balnora, but we'll prioritise that Balnora game now in 3 weeks' time and get ourselves ready for that. So that's the plan, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. And I wish you all the best with it. You never know, Ciarán might see you on the field there now next year.
Yeah, you never know. Go on. Thanks, Sean.
So no, thanks very much, Ciarán.
Cheers, mate.
The Star Sport podcast is brought to you by Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
Welcome back to the Star Sport podcast, following that great chat with Ciarán Crowley. Our second guest on this week's podcast, like I mentioned at the start of the show, is Tadhg Twomey of Newcestown. He's a club legend, really, and we'll be hearing from him in a moment. But this weekend is a huge game for Newcestown ahead of their Senior A Hurling final. They're up against Blarney, and as I mentioned, Twomey recently made his 150th championship appearance for Newcestown. He's hoping the next one will be special. But before we go to him, Sean, how do you see their chances this weekend? Obviously, getting to a final is a brilliant achievement, and they're up against a good Blarney side as well.
Mm-hmm. No, they have every chance. Newcestown pretty much looking to keep the ball rolling. They've had a couple of weeks off now, which is nearly alien to them at this stage, having gone through the year week on week. But they have every chance. Obviously, as you said, they're coming up against a good Blarney side. Blarney, obviously, coming from that dubious enough old replay with Bride Rovers. Obviously, that took its own course, and Blarney had too much for Bride Rovers the second day out. But obviously, Newcestown will probably be looking at two main men to stop in the Blarney attack. They would be Cork players Shane Barrett and Mark Coleman. Anyone who watches Cork Senior Hurling knows how good these fellas are. And then when you bring them down to their club, they're better again. So I'd be thinking Charlie Wilson and the lads in Newcestown will have a plan for the two of them. And if they are to win, they'll probably have to stop their influence. But Newcestown have every chance. They played them earlier on in the Division 3 Hurling League as well, and they beat them by 5 points. So they'll be confident enough going into it. Obviously, it's the first of 2 county finals, so it'd be nice to get one under the belt before going into their football. But yeah, I give them every chance.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned there, like we've spoken a lot on the podcast throughout the year about Newcestown's kind of brilliant achievements as a dual club and getting to both the hurling and football finals this year. Do you think, or would there be any kind of trepidation in Newcestown that if the result doesn't go their way on Sunday, it might have a knock-on effect then in a fortnight's time for the football against Dawneys, or are they separate occasions completely?
I think it's the fact that they have the 2-week break. Whatever the results, they'll be able to tune back in fairly quickly. Obviously, they have different selectors and management teams for both, so it'll be easy enough for them to move from the hurling and football. They've been doing it all year, but in terms of the hurling, they would like to get the cup in their hands. You know, they might end up enjoying a few celebrations after it. You never know. But as I spoke to club chairman Gerard O'Donovan during the week, and he said no matter what the result, they'll be back on the training pitch on Tuesday. So no doubt, whatever way it goes for Newcestown on Sunday, they'll be clued in for Dawnies then in a fortnight's time.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a quote there in this week's Southern Star from Jared O'Donovan in that interview you have with him. You ask him how they've managed to juggle both codes at an elite level, and he just said, it's been quite simple. A week of football followed by a week of hurling. And that kind of sums up the attitude in Newcestown, and it's great to see them having success in both codes. That game is on this weekend. It's on Sunday at 4 o'clock in Park Equive. They're playing Blarney. That's the second game in the Sunday's matches. The Intermediate A Hurling final is on earlier in the day. Agabalog against Middleton. Those games are also available to watch on Rebels Online if anyone can't make it up. But obviously, we'll be hoping for a good crowd up there. We're going to take a very quick break now, and we'll be back to hear from Tadhg Twomey. Ciarán caught up with him earlier ahead of this weekend's final.
Tadhg, were you aware going into that game against Newmarket the weekend before last that it was going to be your 150th championship appearance for the club?
No, I think they kept that one quiet until after. I suppose I wasn't aware of it really happening at any stage until I think I have to give credit to Jack Mead, who's part of our panel. I think he did the research there throughout the year, and he deserves a bit of credit for that. I probably wouldn't have seen how many games I had before that. I wouldn't have even thought of it, you know. But I'd say I have to give him a lot of credit. I'd say he passed on all the details, so I didn't know it was 150 at that game. No.
That's an incredible landmark to reach, like 150 club championship games between hurling and football. And in that tweet that Newcestown put up as well, it goes right back to the start. Like your first football game was intermediate against Carbery back in 2001. Like that's what, 22, 23 seasons ago. Can you even think back to what it was like back then, Tadhg, when you were starting off on this journey?
Yeah, I suppose I can remember that game well enough because it was a scary moment for me coming up against all the big boys that Carbery had those days. But I remember the game went well for us for a lot of it. I know it ended up in a replay, but yeah, I got on all right in that game, and luckily enough, the management picked me that day. I was probably a bit surprised, all right, but look, I've been there since then and probably lucky enough to be playing since then, so hopefully I can keep that going for another while anyway.
It's incredible longevity to be going for at such a high level for so long. So there's fellas all around West Cork now wondering what's the secret, Tadhg?
I suppose I have 4 small kids. It's running around after them, and I suppose if you have a wife, my wife Colleen, who's into GAA, I think she comes from a GAA family, so I think that's a big part as well, because she allows me, she kicks me out the door to go training most of the time. Maybe it's just to get rid of me, but I think just training hard and stuff, you know, and enjoying it. I think that's a big part of it, and the crack with the lads, you know, the social side of it, between the experienced lads and the youth and the few messers in the pack, and the management as well, you know, they're always there. We want for nothing with them, so I think that's a big part of it, you know. I enjoy getting up training, I enjoy the crack with the lads, I enjoy talking to management, and the social side of it after as well, you know. When we meet up in the pub and stuff, there's always a bit of crack.
You mentioned your wife Colleen there, and the kids, and to share that moment after the Newmarket game the weekend before last with with your young fella, like lovely picture up on Twitter of you walking across the Park Equive pitch. Like it's really about the memories, isn't it, Tadhg? You know, you were able to share that memory with your son, and they're the things that you can take forward as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was lucky enough to get on. I think in the end, I had to kind of promise that I'd send him back over to his mother and not take him into the dressing room. But that's all he goes on about, you know, getting into the pitch, getting into the dressing room. He's like a mascot for the lads now at this stage. They all know him well. So, but it's the memories of that. You know, he can probably look back at that, and I can look back at that. You know, it was a great moment, and to come out and top against Newmarket then as well, you know, and have that 150 games. I suppose, look, it was a great feat, so I was happy out with that, you know.
Before we chat about the busy few weeks for Newcestown coming up, just reflect again on this incredible career that you've had. What are the standout moments over the last 2 decades or so? Any one win or any one success that immediately jumps into your mind, Tadhg?
Yeah, the county final, I think in 2015, you know, it was after a tough year. 2014, we lost the final to Ballyhay, and I think we just put the heads down, and that game stands out a lot, you know. I suppose it was against Valley Rovers, who would be a local enough Derby side as well to us. So I think just to get over the line after losing the year before, that was major, and I think that's the moment that stands out.
And you've also soldiered alongside so many great Newcestown players over the years. It'd be unfair for me to kind of ask you to pick out who are the best in that time. But can you explain to me, and even people listening to this podcast, what it is about this club to get to 2 Senior A county finals in the 1 year in both codes? It's an incredible achievement. What is it about Newcestown that has you operating at such a high level year after year after year?
I think it's the backroom staff and all the players, and they all back each other, you know, from the backroom groundskeepers to management to people that are running the club, you know. Everyone backs each other, and we, as I said, we want for nothing in the club. Anything we look for, it's there for us, from ice baths to food and all that. It's always there for us, you know. And I suppose just the hard trainings, and I suppose a big addition this year was probably Niall McIntyre coming into the fold. You know, we probably had a meeting at the start of the year. We didn't go too well last year. And we brought in Niall McIntyre. I think he's been a great addition, you know. We were up in the muck in January and doing a lot of fitness and stuff like that. And I suppose the young fellas and the more senior lads, we've all rolled together. There's a great atmosphere there at the moment. Management are organised, you know, everything. I think everything has come together, you know. A bit of luck maybe as well. That's always part of it as well. But I think everyone in the club has rolled together here, and I think just the hard work. And as I said, the crack at training and the mixture between experience and youth. I think there's always a bit of fight in training and stuff like that, you know. And I suppose games have come thick and fast, you know, so there's probably no time to think about much. But between hurling and football, I suppose they've been organised and stuff like that, so it's worked well.
And you definitely have momentum behind you at the moment. Like, I was looking at your schedule there since the first round of the football championship. Jesus, what was that? Back to end of July now. I think you've been in action. Is it 10 out of 11 weekends or 11 out of 12 weekends, something like that over the course of the last couple of months. How have you found that? Has it been the fact that you've been winning, Tadhg, that you just can't wait for the next game because you've gone hurling football and so on, kind of swapping codes? Or what's the last couple of weeks been like to be involved in both Newcestown teams?
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think it's the winning, you know. It was probably the last week of July we started, you know, and I think winning is a habit, you know. And once you start it all, it kind of keeps going, keeps momentum. And we had a good few chats there. We were like, a lot of people were saying, how come you're not tired? But tired is a mental thing after, you know. If you let that get into your head, I think it will affect you. But I think we just drive on. The lads train hard, you know, and we've been lucky enough with no major injuries this year. I know we lost Colm O'Donovan, who was a great player, all right, and we lost Ciarán O'Donovan for a few games. But look, hopefully Sean will be back for the next day, and I know Colm is probably out for the year, but we've been lucky that way. I think Niall Mac has done a great job in the strength and conditioning side of things. We haven't had as many injuries as we've had last year, you know. So, and as you said, winning is a habit. So I think that's the momentum, you know. And I suppose from all the hard work now, we're lucky enough to be in two county finals, and hopefully there are 2 hurdles in front of us, but hopefully we can get over those as well.
The first final is coming up this weekend. Just for context for our listeners, I'm chatting to Tadhg before the Bride and Blarney replay that was on last weekend. So we don't know who Newcestown are playing in the final this weekend. But putting the final to one side for a second, Tadhg, Sunday it's a pretty big day for you on a personal level. You're hitting a bit of a milestone.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. I'll be 40 on the day of the final, so it's a big milestone, yeah. But it'll be even a better milestone now if we come out on top. So the celebrations would be great. But look, that's just another number at the end of the day. I think it's all about the team here now and all the work we do for the next week, and try and focus on the game and keep things going the way we've kept things going, and look, there's a bit of enjoyment around the parish. It's great for the kids and stuff, and I think that's the main thing, get the buzz back into the parish and buzz back into the team and stuff like that,
When you're in the week of a county final, what's that like? Like you've experienced this before in the past, like you said, 2014, 2015, but to be in the week of a county final, do you try and embrace the noise and the colour around Newcestown, or do you try and block it out and concentrate on the game, or what do you think is best?
I think I like to embrace it, because these opportunities don't come around that often, I suppose like it's 8 years now since we've been in a county final, and as I said, they don't come around too often. Your career can be over, in the blink of an eye, and you have to embrace these moments. It's great for the national school there, for the kids around the place. They see all the colour, and look, it drives everyone on. I think no, on the other side, you do concentrate on the match as well. But look, you have to embrace both. I think as I said, you don't get many opportunities to get into a final, and I think you have to embrace the buzz around the place and all that,
Given the length of the career that you've had, and given where you're at in this stage of your career and still going strong, can we point out 3 points against Newmarket in the football semi-final? But do you almost appreciate, Tadhg, an occasion like this even more now, kind of knowing what it's like to get to a county final, but how hard it is to get back to a county final? You're at a stage of your career now where like this good, you don't know what the next couple of years will be like for Newcestown, so you can really appreciate the whole, like we said, the build-up, but even the game itself.
Yeah, it's, as I said, you mightn't make too many county finals, and yeah, I think I appreciate the hard work that has gone into it, and the hard work that all the lads have done, really, the organisation, everything from management to backroom staff, it's been great, and look, I suppose there's a lot of names out there that don't get noticed, so look, it's great for the club, I think, and it's just a great opportunity for a small parish like Newcestown to put ourselves back on the map for another bit. But hopefully we can do that now for the next 2 games, and we'll see how they go.
Their dual clubs right across the county, looking at Newcestown, saying, how the hell are these lads doing what they're doing, getting to senior A finals in both codes? So, like we talked about juggling both, but how does it operate? Like, what does it look like the week of a football championship game? Is hurling just parked to one side, and is it fully football? Like, how do you move so fluidly between both codes?
Yeah, that's basically it. We put the hurleys away and concentrate on football for the week. We probably have a meeting early in the week and go out then, and I think train right, train hard, eat right, all of that, and I think even just for the hour of training, we put in the effort, and it seems to work. I suppose the games are coming thick and fast, so you don't have time to think anyway. You just put away the hurley, you put away the footballs, whatever week it is. But I think once you're training hard, you're training right, it seems to fall into place. And as I said, get that tiredness out of your head. We can all get tired, but look, if you're training hard and you're sleeping well and all that, and you're doing what your strength and conditioning coach is telling you what to do, I think it's a major part of it, and we seem to have embraced that this year. I think the lads have all rolled in together, and I think it's worked really well between both codes.
And obviously hurling is first up this weekend. But just to get a quick word on the game a couple of weeks down the line, like this is a game that's going to capture the imagination of all West Cork, Newcestown Dawneys in the County Senior A final. Whatever happens, there's a county title coming home to West Cork. Where it's going to reside, we don't know yet. But to be playing Dawneys in a county football final, like that's going to be an incredible build-up as well, Tadhg.
Yeah. I suppose we know Dawneys are a tough team. We played them first game out this year, I suppose, and they came out on top. But look, it was a close game. I think it's going to be a 50-50 game. But we know Dawneys are a very solid. They're a young team and they're very solid, But it's a good sign for West Cork football, I think, because a lot of West Cork teams there now have been thereabouts this year at the business end of the year. I suppose Bantry or another team, Castlehaven. No, it's a good sign that all those teams are at the business end again, And I think, the Dawneys Newcestown game will be there'll be a lot of eyes on it, all right.
And the final question, you mentioned there, obviously it's a good time for football teams in West Cork, but Newcestown for the however many years, you really flying the flag for Carbery clubs at county level. You're our last remaining senior hurling team. How much pride do you take in that you really are putting hurling on the map here in Carbery? Obviously, Luke with the Cork senior team, but the fact that you are our top hurling team, like, is that a fierce source of pride for the club?
Yeah, because I suppose you hear a lot, about hurling in East Cork, But I suppose, look, we put a bit of effort into both, and it seems to work, I suppose Luke there, he's an outstanding player. He trains very hard, and he's great to have in the dressing room. And I think the young fellas look up to him, I probably can't pass looking up to him now, but he's a great role model to have in the dressing room. I think a lot of the younger players in Newcestown look up to him, and you see them all now carrying around hurleys the whole time, So it's great to have the likes of Luke in the dressing room, and there's some great younger players out there, hurlers, with us as well, So it looks, the future looks bright there, I think, hurling wise as well.
Just want to wish you the very best of luck on Sunday, Tadhg, and hopefully you will have a birthday to remember and the celebrations to match. So all the best for the weeks ahead.
Thanks very much, Ciarán.
The Star Sport podcast is brought to you by Access Credit Union. Access Credit Union, funding dreams for over 50 years.
Welcome back to the Star Sport podcast, and now it's everyone's favourite time of the week as we take a quick look ahead to what's going to be in this Thursday's Southern Star Sport. Obviously, we'll be going big on Clonakilty's victory against St. James to claim that Carbery hurling crown. We also have big previews of Newcestown's hopefully first leg of a double as well. Holly O'Sullivan is going into detail about the upcoming Senior A Football Championship final against Dawneys in Newcestown. He looks back at their meeting earlier this year ahead of a big final in a couple of weeks. Sean, as well, you've been wrapping up Jack Watch. Unfortunately, as we all know, Ireland bowed out against New Zealand at the weekend, and you have the latest on Jack Crowley's future, I guess, his immediate future with Munster and a little bit more with Ireland as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, it'll be the last instalment of Jack Watch, as obviously Ireland are no longer in the tournament. But to be fair to the lad, for a young fella to go onto a global stage like that, he acquitted himself very well. Obviously, coming on against Romania the first day and nailing his conversions. And then we remember his obviously getting his penalty against South Africa and his crossfield kick as well to Ringrose in the final group game. So he has a few highlights from the tournament, but it's back to the red of Munster now. And Andy Kirikou, the forwards coach, spoke in the media yesterday and mentioned how the Ireland contingent, or the Munster lads who are involved in the Ireland setup, will be coming back between about 3 and 5 weeks. Munster are involved this weekend against the Sharks, but we won't see any of the Ireland internationals. 3 weeks, the earliest, depending on how long the lads played for during the tournament. But in terms of Jack, with Sexton now gone, he's pretty much in pole position. It's a case of it's his jersey to lose. And there obviously is going to be a lot of competition. You have the likes of Ross Byrne right behind them, and then you have Ciarán Crowley and the young man coming up from Leinster, Sam Prendergast, who was very, very impressive in the under-20 campaign. So look, Jack will just be, putting the head down, get back to work with his province. But he has all the capabilities of leading us out in Australia in 4 years' time.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can read more about Jack in this week's Southern Star. A couple other bits we have. Fiona Keating won the All-Ireland Senior Camogie winners, of course, he's All-Star nominee. She's confident there are more great days ahead for Cork Camogie, so we have a chat with her in there. There's also a lot of hurling action in the Mid-Cork Junior A Hurling Championship final. Ballinora beat Dripsy. There's the replay of the Junior B final and reports from the Southeast Junior A semi-finals as well. We also have the Stars came out on a night to remember for West Cork LGFA as Paulie Palmer was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Libby Coppinger was a guest of honour at the ceremony where all the awards were presented. So it was a great night. We have a photo spread in this week's paper and a full list of the West Cork LGFA Player of the Match award winners as well. There's plenty more in this week's Southern Star as well. We have some more GA club focus. Jerry McCarthy rounds up the West Cork soccer in his usual brilliant style. There's road bowling. Darren McElhenney has been shortlisted for Athlete of the Year, the National Athlete of the Year. And also Keith Cronin is thinking about coming back to consider driving for or aiming for a 5th British Rally Championship. So there's plenty in this week's Southern Star for everyone. As always, if you can't make it to the shops or if you're away from West Cork, you can pick up a copy of the Southern Star online. You can subscribe and get it on your laptop, tablet or phone. So just head to subscribe.southernstar.ie, enter your details and you'll get an exact replica of the newspaper for less than €2 per week, along with full access to our website as well. As always, thanks for listening to the Star Sport podcast, and thanks again to our sponsors at Access Credit Union. If you've enjoyed this, please remember to rate, review and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll be back again next week. Thanks for listening.